am Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And we're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at the entire run of Batman the Animated Series.
Well, sort of.
Sort of.
Okay.
Highlights.
Okay, first we should preface this with a little something. This series was originally inspired by the Tim Burton Batman movie.
I think it surpasses the Tim Burton Batman movie,
It
personally.
was inspired by.
Yeah.
But yes, you can definitely see the influence here and there.
Yeah.
It's much darker. The Batmobile design probably comes from there, too.
Yeah.
But...
Maybe. I don't know.
Well,
It might have predated it because of the comics.
It also started out It also marked the beginning of what is known as the DCAU, or the DC Animated Universe, which is probably the most well-known of the attempts to create a cohesive universe in an animated format for DC. Although they are attempting it very well with the Young Justice universe, which is... Young Justice, sure, was canceled, but other stories are taking place in that universe both before and after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it in the art style.
It's nice to see things get coherent.
Yes. But this was where it began, and when you hear about Superman the Animated Series, the new Batman Adventures...
just basically the fourth
Justice
volume
League,
of this. Yeah.
Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited, that's what you're... It's all part of this universe, and it all started here with the first episode on Leather Wings. Yeah. And it starts out with the most natural enemy for Batman to face, his longest time foe, a foe that he has battled across the years and decades. Naturally, it's the Joker! Okay, no it isn't.
And it was very smart of them, though, to start with Man-Bat.
Yeah, it starts with Man-Bat, a.k.a. Kirk Langstrom, who decides to inject himself with bat DNA...
You know, because science.
Because he believes bats are going to be the next great survivors of
the big ecological catastrophe that'll come next, or something.
Yeah, I don't really think he thought this through.
You know how mad science works. But anyway,
I've injected myself with dung beetle DNA. Now I will be a god.
Good luck with that. But, the show, and I remember watching or listening to the commentary on that first episode, which I'd still like to listen to the other commentaries. They talked about how they wanted to start off the show with the sense that it wasn't just about action. There was an element of human drama to it. And you meet Kirk's wife and his wife's dad, right? Is the older guy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You suspect the wife's dad to be the chemist guy because he's a jackass.
Yeah. It had a dramatic flair to it, and I gotta say, back in late 80s, early 90s,
1990.
Really, let's say early 90s.
Pull it back up.
Pull what back up?
Didn't you have the episode list up?
The list. Yeah, okay. Pull it back up was a little vague. The first
September
1992. Yeah. Was when this episode was coming. But I'm saying though, in that general era. I was young. First off, very, very young.
I was 2.
I was a fan of Batman and of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, these days, when I look back on the classic 80s, 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles...
We watched a couple episodes of the classic Ninja Turtles, and we just
a while ago. And
started laughing our asses off.
I mean, it was kind of hard to watch. It was like, wow, this is, really childish, and I'm sure I liked it back then, but, I can tell you everything that's going to happen before it happens, etc., etc.
I was too. Even in the episode that I didn't read the novelization of. Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much a novelization, it was a picture book that told the story of this episode.
That tells you something about the childish nature of these. I mean, I love TMNT just in general, but the point is, when I watch Batman, which was I'm a big fan of back then, I'm still a fan of it now. Yeah, this is a great way to spend the time. I'm going to watch some Batman.
Yeah. It's always great to have shows that are somewhat timeless. Yeah. Sure, you can laugh at the fact that they had black and white televisions, even though it was the 90s. You can laugh at the fact that... I
think that was on purpose. They're just a stylistic thing they did.
You can laugh at the fact that they were still using tapes and saying, oh, this is super advanced.
Yeah, that's true. They did have tapes.
But the show is still timeless. You can... It's like, what, 20...
A number of years old?
It's like 25 years old.
Yeah.
A quarter of a century since On Leather Wings first debuted. And it's still a good episode. Okay, well, it's an okay episode. But you can see the quality shining through it.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much with the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Yeah, what's with that? Or even the more recent Michael Bay movies, but we'll skip over that.
Yeah, okay, but that's Michael Bay movies.
That's Michael Bay movie. I actually heard that was better than people feared. I haven't even seen that. I'm just Michael Bay.
I thought it was okay.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about. It was just like, okay, that was a Ninja Turtles movie. Okay. I've seen better. I've seen way worse. But anyways, like other cartoons like this, Animaniacs.
Yeah, in a very different genre, but timeless is what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Well, not only Animaniacs, but Tiny Toon Adventures, which was about a bunch of toons living in the same universe as classic Warner Brothers characters like Bugs Bunny going to school and learning how to be, well, cartoons.
Yep.
Made by the same people.
Ah.
Yeah. In fact, in one of the episodes, you can actually see one of the guys, one of the thugs, reading a comic book of Tiny Toon Adventures.
That's right. You did point that out.
Yep. But these episodes are just really great. And further, you want to know how great they are? They actually changed the comics.
They did. They did. With possibly the most popular female comics character ever, even beating out Wonder Woman.
That's right. Arigia, Green Lantern of one of the sectors.
No!
Oh, right. Okay, but seriously, Harley Quinn was not originated to comics.
Yeah.
She came from this series. She was so popular that people said, yeah, we got to put her in this.
Yeah, I read a whole article about Harley Quinn's enduring popularity some months ago, and it sort of, it kind of like rang a bell for me when I realized, oh, I get it. The problem with Wonder Woman is that she's just perfect. Harley Quinn is interestingly in her flaws, and a lot of people I just find that more interesting. Oh, I get it.
Also, we kind of... Okay. I don't know if this is anyone else. I really want to give Harley Quinn a hug.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. This is a kid's show, but they're mature enough to actually depict an abusive relationship. And,
yeah,
not in a gory way, you're it would freak you out as a kid, but you're as an adult. And I remember when I put on Batman DVDs 2 years ago or something, I found a DVD of something in my library, and I was one of those episodes with Joker and Harley, and I went, wait a minute, this is an abusive relationship. They are seriously talking about this.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And it's weird to say that seriously, considering that one is dressed up like a jester and the other is a clown in a purple suit.
Yeah, right? Amazing what they do with these tools.
Yeah. The other change is Mr. Freeze.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Mr. Freeze has been around for a while, but his characterization generally started at, I have a freeze ray.
That was it, man.
He was just generally committing freeze-related crimes.
Yeah.
Then a little episode called Heart of Ice came on. Widely regarded as the single best episode of the DCAU in general, it won Emmy Awards. It reimagined Mr. Freeze, and it really shows... If you want a real analysis of how this show wanted to differentiate itself from Batman, from previous Batman shows... Up until this point, most of the public consciousness accepted a different type of Batman. The Adam West Batman, where they had the shark repellent spray and the...
It was self-consciously zany. It was this is silly, but it's a comic book. Hey.
What sits in a tree and is dangerous? A sparrow with a machine gun. That was an actual goddamn line. I really wish I was making that up.
Okay. Ow.
Yeah. But this show differentiated itself because it may have had, Mr. Freeze, who had a freeze ray, and he's like, oh yes, I've frozen things. This one, let's talk about Heart of Ice here, because Jesus. Mr. Freeze is a man trapped permanently in a robotic suit because of a tragic accident in which he was trying to save his dying wife using cryogenics experiments.
Yeah, the idea being to freeze her until you could find a cure for her fatal condition.
Yeah, by stealing company materials and money from his employer, GothCorp. GothCorp executives, well, one executive, Harris Boyle, came in and said, no, shut it all down, essentially tricking Victor Freeze into putting down his gun before shoving him into a vat of unstable chemicals. Because that's how science works in this universe.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so he comes back and he is... Jesus. He comes back and he wants revenge. And it makes it very clear that both sides are at fault here. And even though Batman is takes down Mr. Freeze, he tells everyone what Mr. Boyle tried to do. And just the direction, the voice acting,
the concept of it, and it comes up later. I think in that episode, you were led to believe his wife just died, right? And he didn't have her, but later on, it comes up very, very near the end of the series.
We actually just watched this episode.
Just watched the episode. It involves evil Walt Disney.
We're not kidding here. It's this guy who's a fairly transparent XP of Walt Disney who says, "Look, I want to create this dream world." And I want to become immortal. Your condition has made you basically immortal, by the way.
He says to Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. So, in exchange for your wife, whom my men rescued, you'll turn me immortal so I can freeze the world and create a utopia for my followers.
Yeah, and then what ends up happening, spoiler alert, is that Batman is, trapped, but he's in the room with Freeze. And he says, when you... save your wife and wake her up, she's gonna wake up to realize that you helped to genocide humanity. And Freeze realizes that he's right and, turns to good just for, that hour,
It's not so much turns to good so much as realizes that he was mistaken.
Yeah, he has interesting motivations. How many villains do you know that just exist to rob banks and shit because that's a bad thing and therefore the good guys can interrupt them? But here's a guy who is deeply loyal to his wife, and it's totally understandable.
This concept was such a great idea and went over so well that it quickly became the official backstory of Mr. Freeze, making its way into the awful Batman and Robin movie, and even in multiple video games, including Batman Arkham City.
Right, and they made a much better movie. They made animated movies based on this series, and they had Batman Sub-Zero, which is very well done.
Which spins off of that episode with evil Walt Disney that I mentioned.
You don't need to see that other episode first. You can just kind of accept it.
I'd say do it because I was really confused because I'd only seen Heart of Ice and Sub-Zero, and I was like, wait. He's in Arkham. Why is he at the North Pole, and why is Nora alive?
I guess I've always, because I guess I must have seen Heart of Ice at some point, but
yeah, you owned it.
Well, I mean. I saw Sub-Zero before we got these DVDs and watched all this. So I've always thought of Nora as being alive in her frozen thing. That wasn't in Heart of Ice per se, but that's so much in the comics that I got it from osmosis. So watching Sub-Zero, I was like, oh yes, she is alive inside her frozen thing, as her classic, as is the classic position for her.
Yeah. Now, I'm kind of mad at the New 52 for changing this.
Yeah, I read that comic. That was weird.
Yeah, it was in the Batman Court of Owls. The first half of Court of Owls I liked because it was like this mystery. There's this secret society that's been controlling Gotham that's been hidden so well that even the goddamn Batman
has never been able to find them.
And what's more interesting, they've been secretly using Wayne Enterprises as a cover. Seriously, Wayne Enterprises always leaves the 13th floor empty on every single one of its buildings that it builds. And the Court of Owls will always build a nest there on the 13th floor where no one is going to be. And it was like this really cool intrigue shit. And then the second half came out and it was like, okay, so now the intrigue shit isn't working. Release the army of Mr. Freeze ninjas! What? No, Mr. Freeze zombie ninjas. I'm sorry. And then Batman had power armor, and then turns out that one of the guys he'd talked to earlier murdered the rest of the court and fought him with his own bat suit.
Did he? I forget the details. Yeah.
But it also said Mr. Freeze wanted to get back to his wife, except it turns out that he was never married.
Yeah, he was just obsessed with some girl who'd been frozen, right?
Yeah, he was obsessed with some girl who had been frozen and had a similar last name. She'd been frozen since the 30s, so he was the first cryogenics test subject ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? You took all the pathos, all the drama out of that?
Mr. Freeze is one of the few villains that isn't insane. I mean, I guess there are a few more. Your gangsters and stuff. But it's neat to see him he's obsessive, but not like Joker style or something, you know.
And when he does stuff, it's usually for a good purpose. Well, maybe semi-good purpose.
It's a believable purpose, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing this to help my wife. I'm doing this to get funds to heal my wife. He's obsessed with his wife. It's kind of creepy at times, but still.
Well, it's. I mean, they made it more creepy in the revised version, but I like to think of it as noble. You can just imagine they used to have a beautiful relationship before this terrible disease took
Exactly.
over, you know.
Okay, so apparently there's stuff aside from Heart of Ice that we can talk about.
Apparently, yeah, they did officially win the 1993 Daytime Emmy Award, by the way, for outstanding writing.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, so just that basically that's the whole attitude of this. It takes which was camp in the older series and turns it into more serious
drama. Really, and it's not the 90s anti-hero bullshit where Batman just gets to be like super grumpy all the time, like, I'm gonna hit people really hard today, and there's like several panels, and now I'm hitting them even harder, and I'm angry. Like,
it isn't like him killing people. It's the Joker has launched a plan that will turn all the fish in Gotham on the eastern seaboard into smiling Joker fish. And this is taken frickin' seriously because he's slowly attacking people who stand in the way of his plan, which will net him billions of dollars.
Except it makes no sense at all without copyrights and all this.
Yeah, still.
But that was funny too.
But everyone who
the
disagrees,
Joker. It doesn't
he
make
kind of
sense.
sprays them with toxins.
Yeah.
He sprays them with toxins, but the interesting thing is it's a binary toxin. So he sprays them with the first part, and they're like, "Oh, I must be immune to Joker toxin," and then like he delivers the second part in a completely different and strange way that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, you were talking about the contrast between this and Adam West. That reminds me of Beware the Grey Ghost.
Oh, Beware the Grey Ghost. Yes.
And this again is, I mean, just on its surface, it's an interesting little drama thing. There's Bruce Wayne when he was a kid watched this show called The Grey Ghost,
which is a bit of a retcon because in the comics it was that he was a fan of Zorro.
Right. Well, it's a different universe, the DCAU.
Yeah.
So the Grey Ghost was kind of a Batman-ish type of guy. He had gadgets and cloak and things. And now the actor who used to play the Grey Ghost is like on the verge of bankruptcy. He hasn't found work in a long time. So Batman ends up talking to him because he needs his help facing off against this villain who seems to be repeating
the crimes of the Grey Ghost.
Of them from the Grey Ghost show, right. So he needs his help to do you remember how this episode used to go? Things
and
like
eventually the guy goes, Batman, please, I'm not the Grey Ghost. Yeah. I know you were a fan of this show. I know that this person is basing his crimes off of this, but I'm not him. I can't help you like he could.
Right, and I mean, Batman does officially understand that, but the actor has to face his own sense of being useless and ends up being useful by the end of the episode.
It's kind of like how Leonard Nimoy once published a book saying, I am not Spock, and then later published a different book saying, I am Spock.
Yeah, I think hardly anyone has ever read those books. They all just freaked out at the title, from what I hear.
Yeah. I haven't read it either, but
yeah, no, but anyway, so that was all a nice episode to begin with. But the Grey Ghost is actually voiced by Adam West. So this
and
whole
is modeled after Adam West.
So this whole thing is a tribute to the old school Batman, saying that you were very different from us, but you inspired our 90s new school Batman.
Yeah, it's charming in its own way.
Yeah.
And, they made callbacks to... It's clear that the people at Rocksteady Games, when they were making the Batman Arkham games, did love this show. They got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to play the Batman and the Joker. Yeah. And in Arkham Knight, there's a bunch of Arkham games.
Yep.
They're all titled Arkham, even when it's not really applicable.
Well, yeah, they couldn't call it Arkham Asylum 2 or something. That'd be confusing.
Really? Why not?
Because it wouldn't take place in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, Arkham Knight was so poetic. It didn't take place in Arkham then either.
Well, yeah, but there was a guy named Arkham Knight.
Who had nothing to do with Arkham.
But he was still named that, at least. I don't know.
So, I call myself Sith King Zero. Does this mean I can shoot lightning out of my frickin' hands? No, it does not, in fact, mean I can shoot lightning out of my hands.
Oh, that's such a shame. Anyway.
I know, really. But in Barbara Gordon's place, in Arkham Knight, you can actually see posters for the Grey Ghost.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yep. Okay, so other good episodes.
Somebody.
Oh.
Harley Quinn debuted in Joker's Favor, 1992.
Feet of Clay. That was a really good one. It was about Clayface's origin.
Yeah.
Matthew Hagen, which, by the way, I love that name because I'm Matthew. Yeah. My real name is Matthew.
Also Hagen. It's Clayface!
By the way, there's no rambling reviewers. It's just me doing two voices. But Matthew Hagen is a promising, successful actor who unfortunately suffered a tragic accident, and now he looks like shit. So he's been taking this wonder drug from a guy, Daggett.
Daggett, yeah, the mobster Daggett.
Daggett, who is funding his experiments on an experimental drug that can allow you to reshape your features with crime, because, you know, this sort of thing wouldn't be the type of thing that people would fund.
Nope.
But Matt Hagen eventually starts going, yeah, you know, I'm not really into this. And so they dump him in a vat of the stuff, and eventually it turns him into a goo monster named Clayface, who can shapeshift into anything.
Yeah. And it was interesting there to see him struggling with the fact that he was a shapeshifter, and at one point he turns himself back into his regular face, like subconsciously, and his buddy's like, dude, you look just like yourself again. And for a moment he's thinking, I'll have my career back, but he turns back into goo, and he realizes he can't hold it for more than a few minutes, and he freaks out, and you feel bad for the guy even though he's a villain.
Oh, and in addition, he's voiced by the same guy who did Hellboy in the Hellboy movies.
That's right.
Jeez, what is his name? Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Yep. I love Ron Perlman. He's just a great guy for acting. I don't know what he's like in real life.
We presume you're a great guy, Perlman.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's probably watching. I mean,
Ron Perlman watches all our stuff. Don't you know that?
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Appointment in Crime Alley.
Oh, well, the Appointment in Crime Alley was...
Well, if we go... Let's just go over the really important episodes.
Yeah, we can't go through everything. Perchance to Dream, I thought.
That was
cool.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay, Perchance to Dream. The Mad Hatter has trapped Batman in a world where he's dreaming and has the perfect life.
But you don't know that at first. He just wakes up and, there's no such thing as Batman, and there's no crime for him to fight, and it's like... He's engaged to Selina. He's engaged to
Selina Kyle, and his parents are alive.
Yeah.
So naturally, Bruce starts going crazy. And
well, it was neat how he figures it out. I don't know if this makes any sense technically, but all the text, printed in newspapers and on signs and stuff in this episode, is all warped. And you think at first it's just an animation error of some kind. And then at the end, Batman's like, no, it's impossible to read in a dream. That's how I know this isn't real.
I'm not sure if that's accurate.
Maybe it's impossible for him. I don't know.
Maybe it's impossible for him, because I read in dreams all the time. But then again, reading comprises 90% of what I do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's probably just so deeply ingrained in my subconscious I can't help it.
Anyway, so that's neat.
But it's a really...
after that, though, was the Cape and Cowl conspiracy. Now, this one I remembered ever since
my God, this one is just...
Okay,
the Cape and Cowl conspiracy is... At the beginning, someone tries to kill Batman. Because,
Because he's Batman.
Yeah. Okay, so Batman goes undercover, and he said... So he goes to this party and he threatens a guy. Shortly afterwards, that guy puts out a hit on Batman. Mm-hmm. And the guy who tried to kill Batman earlier answers it. And he says, I want you to bring me Batman's cape and cowl. And he keeps asking these innocuous questions of why he wanted to kill Batman. Mm-hmm. Or something like
why
that.
Why he wants the cape and cowl, yeah.
Yeah.
Why that guy, the other guy.
Why the assassin wants to kill Batman. Mm-hmm. And he keeps asking and asking. And finally, the assassin brings the mobster the cape and cowl. And he said, mobster takes the cape and cowl and turns his back to the guy. And you just see the top of his head, and it's all shadowed out. The guy says, I wanted to kill Batman because he was interfering with the smuggling operation I was part of. And you see, the guy's been fidgeting around in his seat, but his back's turned to us. And then the shadow lurches upwards. It's this unearthly thing that just... movement. The shadow itself is alive, and you see it slip on the cowl and turns around. It was Batman the whole time. just the animation in that one scene is probably my favorite animated moment in the entire show.
Yeah.
Just because the music, everything works together in this scene. It's just like the guy realizes too late what he's just done.
And Batman is just so clever, you know.
He turns around and he's got the glowing white eyes.
The eyes of doom.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta love Batman for just thinking, 2 steps ahead of the game all the time. There was the strange secret of Bruce Wayne, and I like this that it starts off with this judge is meeting some creepy people on this bridge in the middle of the night, and she's apparently desperate to get her hands on this tape that they have, and you eventually find out that Doctor Strange had read her mind and had gotten video of her memories, essentially, that she as a girl had accidentally set a fire, and she's been embarrassed and ashamed of that ever since, and worried people would
more
find out.
shamed because arson.
What accidental is not quite the same.
Oh my god, it's so good.
But it was so because you were watching people struggle with their secrets now. It was, again, not just robbing a bank, which is generically evil and stuff. It was personal to the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Heart of Steel introduced...
No. Fucking Hardak. Fuck you, Hardak.
No, but he set up a better episode later.
He did.
The one where Batman punches his way out of a box. These guys are going into a warehouse.
Okay, let's start with Hardak.
Yeah.
Hardak was basically a HAL 9000 if HAL 9000 was built in the 50s. And he says, humans are imperfect, so I'm going to replace them all with robots that look exactly the frickin' same as them and act as the same as them. And Batman stops it naturally. Mm-hmm. Okay, but we'll get back to Hardak.
Oh.
Let's see. Any...
Tiger was kind of what is that one? Island something.
Island of Dr. Moreau?
Island of Dr. Moreau, yeah. Seemed to me to be the inspiration for Tiger.
Which is basically... Honestly, this episode was really, really good. And it doesn't seem like it, but... Well, the plot starts out... A guy has created a genetic abomination... a Catman hybrid, and wants to turn Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, into another Catman hybrid to be its mate.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly stupid and furry bait, but honestly, the struggles of the Catman are fascinating, because it falls for Selina. I mean, let's be honest here. It's Selina Kyle. The woman is extremely hot.
And she becomes more cat-like as the episode wears on.
Yeah, so he's in love with her. He wants to help her. He wants to explore his new sense of individuality and the fact that he's alive now, but at the same time, he's still beholden to the man he considers his father. It's a really fascinating drama thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Day of the Samurai, blah, blah, blah.
Almost got him, I was for another one of those twist endings.
Oh, yeah. Almost got him. This one actually made the #1 spot on the Nostalgia Critics top 11 Batman the Animated Series episodes. It's basically some of the biggest villains of the series get together and they say, well, they're just shooting the shit, playing poker, telling some jokes, and they're saying, well, here's how I almost killed Batman. And then it's revealed at the end that Killer Croc was actually Batman in disguise. Yeah. It probably should be something they check first then. Killer Croc was actually Batman in disguise. He was just sitting in there to get information on where the Joker had Robin trapped.
But then they all get up when he reveals himself. Batman, we've got you now. And then everyone else in the entire restaurant bar thing jumps up with a gun and they're all cops.
Yes.
Hey, Batman.
The man who killed Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so basically there's this little weenie called Sid the Squid. That was the nickname given to him. He wants to be a big-time mob boss, but he is...
small time.
You know that weenie in every nerd stereotype you can think of in after-school teen dramas about the nerdy kid who wants to get together with the cheerleader, but everyone knows he's not going to make it.
You know, I never knew any cheerleaders personally. I had such a big school. Go ahead.
Well, I was antisocial, so that explains me. But actually, I did know several cheerleaders.
See, how did you do that? No, it doesn't matter.
We were in the same classes. Yeah, but anyway, so what happened is, well, on a routine mission, Sid kind of bumbles and accidentally shoves Batman off a roof into a vat of into an exploding tank.
We meet a storage device, not a battle tank, that happened to be exploding.
And he accidentally rips Batman's cape up, and he gets, oh crap, I didn't mean it. Everyone starts going, holy crap, Sid just killed Batman.
And then, like, everyone loves him, but they also hate him, because, like, they want to get rid of him before he, like, maybe kills them too.
Or they want
the
to
Joker is mad that he killed Batman first, you know?
So he's... eventually goes to Rupert Thorne and says, look, this is all a horrible misunderstanding. And Rupert actually out-genre savvies himself. Mm-hmm. He goes, you think I'm stupid? No one can be that so stupid as to blunder into all of these coincidences. I am! He tries to kill him because he thinks Sid is going to get into them trying to knock off Rupert and Bob. Yeah. Okay, there's actually a fan fiction out there called Bruce Has a Problem. I want to bring your attention to it because it draws inspiration from this show. It was based on a story by a guy, I can't remember what his name is, but it was expanded on the Space Battles forums. The basis is that Harley Quinn figures out who Batman is and falls madly in love with him. It's about the hijinks that ensue from that and of how she eventually joins the Bat family and Bruce grows to love her back.
Aww.
You know, and Bruce...
That's weird.
Well, Bruce actually, starts to realize I'm a better, more stable influence than the Joker is. But eventually he does come to look. Well, one of the things that spun out of this is that Sid the Squid in that universe used his reputation to form a successful insurance company.
Oh.
For the Bat Insurance Company. Blackgate Allied Trade. Because Blackgate's the name of the prison.
Okay.
But, like, he does it to specialize in, like, insurance for crooks. Saying, okay, if you get sent up the creek, we have special insurance policies to make sure that your family is taken care of. And, all you need is a bit of the take from the job,
Okay.
Helps. I like to...
Yeah.
I always kind of wanted to follow up to Sid the Squid just because I thought he was a really interesting character. Granted, it was kind of a one-note character, but still, it's a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
What happens if someone actually did kill Batman?
Yeah, and now he's freaking out and on the run the whole time.
Okay.
Paging the crime doctor I found interesting because Rupert Thorne has a brother who doesn't really want to be evil, but he feels sort of pressured into it and stuff like that. I think we missed the one where there was one with a criminal who reforms, remember, a gangster. I just remember seeing that as a kid and being like, wait, the guy turned to good? Like, what a new idea. That's really interesting.
Zatanna, which is interesting, really interesting, actually. Fascinating, but not so much as an episode from the episode itself. It's basically Bruce Wayne meets an old flame who's accused of a crime. It's Zatanna Zatara. He trained with her father as an escape artist. The thing about this is, though, that Zatanna is shown to be an illusionist in this episode, as is her father. However, when you consider this as part of the DCAU, and that Zatanna later joins the Justice League as a full-on magic user...
Maybe she was only pretending to be an illusionist.
Yeah.
Harry Houdini was known for debunking, magic claims... But there are people who are really diehard believers in magic who accused Harry Houdini of actually having magic powers and pretending that he didn't have them for some mysterious scheme. So it could be like that.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Okay, let's see. Shadow the Bat.
Shadowbag brought us Batgirl. I mean, not for the first time ever, but first time in this show.
Blind as a Bat I really liked because it shows Bruce Wayne blind and him having to use a special visor type, which kind of foreshadows the night vision that you get in the Batman Arkham games.
Oh. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, okay.
His Silicon Soul, at least just interesting for its beginning, Because as I was saying earlier, these thugs break into a warehouse, a bunch of wooden crates just hanging around, and they're opening the crates and whatever. And then out of one of them, Batman just punches his way out. And you're like, dear God, did Batman put himself into a crate specifically so he could do that?
Alfred, I need to make sure I'm going to take these guys completely by surprise. They'll never see this coming.
It turns out that this Batman is actually a robot made by Hardak that we mentioned earlier. And, the robot wants to be a good guy, but it's weird.
It was actually... the robot shows up to... Robot Batman talks to this robotics expert and says, "You've got to help me. Someone took my mind and put it in this robot body." And he's like, no, actually, you are just a robot. Like, the real Batman's over there. And he had to, deal with that, weird situation.
Although they could have made a really interesting character out of that. Like, the robot Batman who patrols eternally throughout the streets of the world.
That sounds like a fanfic.
I want that now.
Yeah. Fire from Olympus, I like, too.
Oh, my God,
Fire. Zeus. And
sort of.
Well,
his name is Maxwell Zeus.
He thinks he's actually struggling with mental illness. Like, the Joker is crazy in his own way that he just loves to do, and lots of other villains are just, I'm villainous because I want money, but he's honest to God, slipping away from reality, and it bugs him in those few moments when he realizes what's going on. It was tragic, but interesting,
He believed he was Zeus, the one from Olympus, and he had a death ray that shot lightning. Because of course he did.
Yeah.
He referred to Batman as Hades.
That was so cool, right? Batman just shows up to talk to the guy on the top of his building, which he thinks of as Olympus.
So the thugs of the guy go, okay, we'll take care of Batman,
Because thugs are stupid in Gotham.
Yeah. Gotta figure that their insurance policies must be amazing.
Oh, yes.
We make $80,000 per job. That's the only reason we keep doing this. Well, Zeus goes, well, no. Can you not see? This is my brother, Hades, Lord of the Dead.
And isn't that an interesting reaction for anything other than, just, oh, it's Batman, shoot him. How about a different reaction? This is interesting, yeah.
And then later when he goes to Arkham, he keeps pointing out different people and how they're actually the Greek gods.
Yeah.
Two-Face becomes Janus because Janus was a two-faced god. Demeter was his...
I don't know enough about
Poison Ivy.
Right.
But, yeah. Although, from the point of view of the DCAU, again, later we meet Wonder Woman, and the Greek gods are an actual thing in this universe. Wouldn't that have just been great if, the real Zeus showed up? No, wouldn't it be great if, this was the real Zeus?
Oh my gosh.
And he'd just taken human form. Wouldn't that have been tragic if he had... It would have been like the episode of Doctor Who where the Doctor seals his consciousness into the pocket watch and his human personality is subsumed by the Doctor once it comes back.
Ooh, yeah,
he pretends to be human because he fell in love with a human woman.
Right.
And then eventually all that's left that gets pushed down and he's unable to do anything about it while the god comes fully into the fore.
Yeah. Oh, that's another fanfic.
Of course, at the same time, that would also be very bad because it means that Hera would probably take it out on the poor woman he fell in love with because the Greek gods were dicks.
Yeah.
Seriously, I had a friend ace a test on Greek myth by taking my advice, which is saying, hey, okay, you want to know what the Greek gods would do? Pick the most dickish thing they could do in any given opportunity, and that's what they do. Okay.
Sideshow gave Killer Croc the possibility of
redemption. The second season or the third season,
it's technically the second season, but the thing is, the first season was 65 episodes, and the second season was another 20. So it's kind of like 3 seasons. It's weird.
Yeah. So season 2/3 had this weird thing of they kept on trying to show redemption for the villains. Well, not really weird, but recurring theme.
Yeah.
Some of them were good, and some of them not so good.
Oh, all right.
Sideshow was okay, but basically Killer Croc stumbles upon a bunch of Sideshow freaks and tricks them into helping him fight Batman. Because
briefly anyway.
Briefly.
The point was he, had a chance for another life, and we got to go somewhere other than Gotham, which we do once in a while. Arabia, places, or whenever Ra's al Ghul is involved.
Yep, and then there was a bullet for Bullock. Now, another character that this show introduced was Harvey Bullock. I love Harvey because he gives absolutely no shits.
Yeah.
He's a big fat guy who is willing to insult Batman to his face, but underneath that, he's actually a pretty good detective. Mm-hmm. He's got a good eye for how the streets operate, and, he's not bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's an absolute slob. Also, this episode apparently gave rise to what has become kind of my catchphrase. Because it turns out that the person who was trying to kill him this whole episode was not the mobster that he and Batman spent the episode trying to catch. It was his own landlord who hated how much of a slob he was and eventually was driven insane by Bullock's slobbishness and was dragged off to prison saying, if I had killed you, no prison, no jury in the world would convict me.
And you've used that phrase for the longest time, and you and I saw it, and like, oh my gosh, that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I don't even know where I got it from, but...
Yeah.
Trial. Trial.
All right, good.
Okay, there's a new defense attorney, DA or whatever.
Yeah, DA.
Who says, Batman's the one who's creating all these crooks. And then she and Batman are kidnapped, dragged to Arkham Asylum, and they have a trial by all the villains who say, yeah, you're right, so we're going to put you on trial. Naturally, it's only the fairest trial with all of Batman's rogues gallery in the
witness seat,
except
in the jury,
except for the juror. The juror is Joker.
You mean the judge?
Judge.
Yes.
The judge is Joker. Oh my God. Look, the witness is clearly bribing the judge. It shows the Joker leaning into Harley Quinn's lap, and she's feeding him grapes. What makes you say that?
Joker's so amazing that way.
Oh, we'll cover Joker later, but okay, let's see.
And then they eventually they find him innocent. And they go, well, you're innocent, so we're going to have you killed!
And they're like, the DA's like, what? And they're all like, really? You're surprised at this? We're kind of evil.
Yeah.
Okay, a terrible trio was kind of weird.
House and Garden had another redemption theme, but it was all a masquerade.
Okay,
Harley Quinn involved an atomic bomb, and Harley standing up to the Joker. That was nice.
Yeah.
It only lasted a few minutes, but still.
Yeah,
she had development. I think we skipped Harley and Ivy at one point here. That was neat, too.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. Bane wasn't really the best episode. I'm sad to say, because I like Bane. However, Bane's opportunities for being used in the Batman universe are kind of limited because he's kind of a Ragnarok-type villain. Let me explain. A Ragnarok-type villain is a villain that can only be used once in a while and are pretty much introduced specifically for the purpose of fucking someone up.
Kind of like a Doomsday.
Doomsday is another Ragnarok villain.
Yeah.
Doomsday was introduced specifically because they wanted Superman to have something that could overpower him and kill him to set up for the death and return of Superman, which were great stories, by the way. You should read those. Bane was the one responsible for Bruce Wayne stepping down and Azrael taking the position because Bane broke Batman's back.
Yeah. Didn't get around to that in the animated version.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, which is... Again, it's disappointing, but Bane, I would have liked to see how they would have made him.
I would have liked to see Azrael just in general.
Yeah, plus, if you ever read Bane's backstory, it's terrifying.
Ooh.
Yeah, if we ever watch the movie Descendants, which I do plan to do with you at some point, watch the movie Descendants, because there's some themes between Bane and that I'd like to touch on. Okay. Let's see, Lion and the Unicorn, Rank 4, Organization, blah, blah, blah.
Well, wasn't it that Alfred had an adventure?
Oh, yeah, Lion and the Unicorn was... turns out that Alfred is ex-Secret Service, which we kind of all knew. If not, God. Alfred is pretty much the best butler in the universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Second Chance, which is where Harvey Dent is... His evil side tries to stop his good side from getting treatment.
Right, I mean, that's the big reveal at the end. Pretty well done.
Okay, we missed an episode somewhere, which is like the Penguin's Day or something.
Oh, the one where... Wait, you don't mean Batman in my basement?
No.
Yeah, that's
I said the Penguin's Reform, not Batman in my basement.
Well, you said the Penguin. I just thought maybe you were going to comment on how nobody liked the Penguin in that episode.
Okay, well, anyways. The Penguin's Reform I really liked because it showed...
right. That one with
honestly,
the girl.
It showed that the Penguin could really have reformed and been a good person.
They really are pushing that theme. You're right. I didn't know how often it came up.
Yeah, he gets out of prison and he realized that absolutely no one's waiting for him. And then some rich upper-class snobs invite him to a party because they want to...
Because it's scandalous, to get attention.
We'll get this guy to come to our party, and it will be hilarious. I swear to God, the guy talked like that. The girl goes on a date with the penguin, and he takes her to a fancy restaurant and acts like a pig. However, in terms of eating, but
he's trying to be a nice person, though. He really is.
Yeah, he even defends her from thugs, which is great because the next scene, he's fighting away the thugs, and he's offering his hand to the lady. Batman tackles him out of nowhere and says, "Penguin, I knew you couldn't keep it on the straight and narrow." And the girl's like, what the hell are you doing? He was being good that time. Wait, really? The honest confusion in Batman at that scene, I just love to death.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that he actually wants to start going steady with her. He really likes her. And the worst part is you can tell she was starting to really like him.
Yeah.
It could have turned out
so... It all fell apart, didn't it?
And then Penguin overhears the jerk idiot saying, "Oh, this plan is working perfectly." And he turns evil again because his pride says so. Harley's Day is similar in concept. It's Harley Quinn is released from Arkham. And so she does the first thing that comes naturally. She goes shopping while wearing small clothing and walking her hyenas down a busy street.
Yeah.
Because Arkham. The weird thing is she doesn't do anything wrong in this episode up until she feels trapped and terrified. She accidentally takes a piece of clothing that still has the anti-theft tag and somehow misses that everyone's trying to say, wait, we just want to take the anti-theft tag off. So she panics and kidnaps a girl who is the daughter of a general.
Who shows up in a tank later on.
Which leads to the best line ever. Well, because Harley actually kind of befriends the girl, and they're all like, "You know what? I didn't mean to kidnap you. I just kind of freaked out. I'm just having a bad day. I'm sorry." "Oh, that's okay. I know what you mean." "Hey, why are you driving away from that guy? Why are you driving away from him? That's my dad." "No, that's not your father. That's your father in a tank."
Yeah. No, that was interesting when we first saw the general, it's an anonymous general for a moment there, who's like on the phone, going, "No, we have to find my daughter, bring in all the artillery we've got." And I went, is that Thunderbolt Ross?
It was! Except it wasn't.
It's like freaking suddenly crossover with Marvel, and the Hulk's gonna show up too already.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god. Okay, so then we got to Lockup, which is where...
Oh, well, yeah, there was Lockup.
Yeah, we just saw Lockup, but...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There might have been an interesting idea there. It didn't quite come across.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Make them laugh. I've seen that one.
Of course, we just saw Deep Freeze was one we referenced earlier, though.
Oh, what's kind of horrifying is that they never mentioned they tried to find the Walt Disney XP. Meaning that he's immortal and trapped in a block of ice at the bottom of Gotham forever.
Yeah, I know, right?
Although, wait a second. I now have a problem with that episode.
What?
Why was the ice sinking? Why was the ice sinking?
Maybe it was unusual ice somehow.
The first person to say maybe the ice was made of heavy water. I will track you down and kill you.
I'm trying to find out what actual components do freeze at a higher density than regular water. Like other materials could freeze, I suppose. But really, that doesn't make much sense.
Iron,
I guess.
Freezes at a higher temperature. Okay. And the last episode of the series, Batgirl Returns, which...
It's alright.
It was alright, but it didn't really feel finale-worthy.
Well, it kind of wasn't, because next up comes the new Batman Adventures.
Which we haven't seen
actually. The freaking box says, this is the last of the series, and then after we finish it, it's like, we find this on Wikipedia, like, well, no, there was the new Batman Adventures, so... There are a couple other movies, though, that belong to this family of films.
Sub-Zero, which we watched like a long time ago, but...
it's so good, though.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze comes back, and, a submarine accidentally crashes into his house.
Yes. It's an Arctic house, naturally.
Okay, he lives in a cave in the Arctic, and he lives with a little Inuit boy, or something like that.
I think it's a boy, yeah.
We're assuming it's an Inuit human who is young.
Yes.
And then atomic submarine breaches up through his house, nearly killing Nora, and the only thing that'll save her is a blood transfusion. So, naturally, they go...
No, not just a blood transfusion, but an organ transplant.
Yeah.
Because it gets deadly in that case.
Yeah, so...
So they have to go find... It turns out Barbara Gordon is a match for her.
Yeah, you know...
Oh, crap.
You know, I don't know, Freeze. I would have gone for any other city other than the one with the bat-shaped vigilante who regularly kicks everyone's ass.
Don't you know Gotham is the only city in the world?
Which is weird because Metropolis should have at least been on their radar at this point.
Yeah, well, the DCAU didn't exist quite yet, did they?
Yeah, but it was at this point that they were at least working on the Superman cartoon.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, this came out... The Sub-Zero came out in 98, a few years after this the show ended. As opposed to Mask of the Phantasm, which came out during the... Yes, Phantasm, whatever.
You said Phantasm, but it's
the
Phantasm.
Mask of the...
Mask of the Bitch.
No. You totally, you guessed the ending, as I recall, as soon as we were, early on. Oh, is that the Phantasm? Damn it, man. It's supposed to be a thing that, comes up later on. You don't know who it is. And anyway, that's a very good movie, though.
Yeah, basically, one of Bruce Wayne's childhood friends turns out to be a costume vigilante.
Why did you spoil it after I just went out of my way not to spoil it?
Because we've spoiled literally every other episode in the series.
That's true.
Why you should have said, hey Matt, don't spoil this.
Oh, whatever.
Jesus Christ. But anyways, but what really sets this apart is it also shows the origin of Batman and how close Bruce came to not becoming Batman at all.
Yeah.
But then his girl left him, and in such a way that drove him...
It broke his heart. I mean, he was already thinking of, doing something important with himself.
Yeah. And this scene is just great because it shows Alfred watching him as Batman pulls on the cowl for the first time and turns. And Alfred just looks horrified at this thing that this man that he has raised up from a child has turned into this creature of the night. And you can almost hear it in that moment. He is vengeance. He is the night. He is Batman. Also, it has a really awesome opening sequence that is... I swear to God, it is only them singing their own names. I swear. I'm not making this up.
The opening chorus is actually names of the creators sung backwards. And so it sounds like Latin or something, but it's really just backwards talk. But you don't know that when you first watch it.
Yeah.
I should also mention Batman Mystery of the Batwoman, which I'm told by Wikipedia technically spins off of the new Batman adventures, but, it just works any which way. I found that to be well done also.
Yep. Turns out there's 3.
Why did you keep... Anyway.
Fuck it!
So, moving on.
But you don't know what I was saying there's 3 of.
Who knows? Who knows?
I could have been referring to the fact that it's the 3rd movie we're talking about here.
That's right. Turns out there's 3 of them.
And they're all Green Lanterns.
So anyway, it turns out you can make a show for kids, but also for adults. And it's just good drama,
But I think
not Shakespeare, I suppose, but it's good.
The character we should talk about, though, isn't Batman. It isn't Alfred. It's what really made this show the show that it is. The Joker. Oh my God, Mark Hamill fucking nails it. Every scene that he's in, he is the Joker personified. Whenever I have to read something that the Joker is saying in a comic book, it's Mark Hamill's voice that I hear in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember hearing about him once when he went to audition for the role, and he was driving to the office or wherever, or the studio, I should say, and just practicing Joker laughs on the way there. I imagine how fun that would have been. Just be like, well, that guy seems to be going crazy in that car, but nope, he's actually smarter than anybody.
Okay, you want to know how popular this show was and how influential and... A couple years ago, The Hub, which is now Discovery Family, I don't know if My Little Pony's still on it. I don't really...
It is.
Okay.
Isn't it? Yeah.
But anyways, they put out a Christmas Carol commercial for their own channel. I don't really get why channels keep doing this. It's like, watch the channel that you're currently watching. What? where they had all their characters from the Hub's original shows singing Jingle Bells, at least the first lyric. Well, because this is the Hub and because My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is kind of the most popular show across several networks, most of it was singing by ponies. And just as they were beginning to go into the Jingle Bells part, they broke out music from the second episode of the series where Joker starts singing Jingle Bells, Batman Smells.
Yeah, I remember.
This is 20... I'd like to remind you all that this is 20 years after that had premiered, and it managed to take up the entire second half of the frickin' commercial, competing against My Little Pony and winning. So, for those who are wondering, the Joker is more powerful than friendship.
Oh my gosh. That's scary.
Wow, that actually sounds like it would be a great poster. Just like a silhouette of the Joker, in a greater than sign and a pony.
Oh man. Yeah,
I want that poster now.
I love how the Joker is so crazy, so energetic, so interesting because you never knew what he was gonna do next, type of a thing. Always fun to see him, and to see him get mad. He'd be silly, and then he'd get mad sometimes. It was still Joker, it all felt correct.
He was happy, he was mad, he was all over the road, and Mark Hamill just nailed it. And when we heard that he was coming back for the Arkham games, we were psyched.
Yeah, and Kevin Conroy came back too, voice of Batman. So that tells you the staying power of this show.
Yeah,
the
even
people
though
who
it was
debuted here are still their characters.
Yeah. 15 to 20 years after it went off the air, and 10, 15.
Whatever, yeah.
And these characters still have power. These voices still have power.
I wanted to mention the ventriloquist, by the way. They made an interesting villain out of
that.
him.
Was a really cool one.
Another twisty thing where the guy is really kind of done in by his own insanity. And at first you don't know what's going on. What's the human's name in the ventriloquist pairing? What's his name?
Jesus.
And Arnold Wesker.
Arnold Wesker is this ventriloquist guy with a multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
And the multiple personality basically means that the Al Capone has dummy that he holds is running the show.
And at first they talk about hey, you gotta go wake up the boss. Are you sure? He doesn't like to be woken. Yeah, it's important. Okay. And he goes to go find the boss, and he comes out with this dummy, and the dummy is the boss apparently, who is quote unquote sleeping, but just lying there in the bed. And then Batman talks to Arnold about the dummy when the dummy's in the other room, and he's like, "Shh, whoa, we can't tell him I'm working with you. And please don't hurt me." And
one of the greatest parts, I think, is one of the thugs looks to Arnold and says, "Well, what should we do?" The dummy, the dummy Scarface backhands the thug and knocks him back a bit, which is kind of impressive considering wooden doll, but and says, "Hey, what are you talking to the dummy for? You're talking to me. I'm the boss here." And then Batman uses his own ventriloquism to convince Scarface that Arnold Wesker has turned on him. So
the gun at himself. Please don't shoot!
Don't shoot me, Scarface! This would honestly be hilarious if it wasn't so dramatic and sad.
I know, right? They do such a good job with that.
And none of the thugs know what to do. They're like, you know what? The Joker was sadder than this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my God. So eventually we're going to get our mitts on the new Batman Adventures, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. But this was such a good show that we had one episode to cover 85 episodes. Remember how it was with Korra? When it was bad, it was every 2 episodes we had to do a review. And then it got good. It's we did a whole season. Here's one episode for you because we have nothing to make fun of.
Yeah. Did we ever do a retrospective on Korra just to talk about the show as a whole?
We kind of implicitly did that with our final review, but I don't think we did a specific retrospective.
Just to cover the show in general, high points and low points.
I have to go listen to our old episodes.
Or we could just look
exactly
at the episode.
what we said. Yeah,
just look at the episode list.
Look at the things.
Okay, but yeah, so eventually at some point in the future we'll look at other entries to the DCAU, including the new Batman adventures and the adventures of Superman.
And he's probably still going to make me watch Jupiter Ascending, because we haven't gotten around to that yet.
If I have to suffer, you're all going down with me, you fuckers.
Oh, God, yeah. That'll be a thing.
Oh, God.
Okay, well, I guess we're basically done.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening, people.
Well, thanks for putting up with our nonsense for...
about an hour.
About an hour, yeah.
Should we stall till we get to an exact hour? just to mess with people that are still listening to us up at this point. 19 seconds to go.
Okay, something.
16.
Okay, I'd like to plug something here. Miracle of Sound put out 3 songs for the Batman Arkham series. The first is Mind of the Bat, which is about Batman in the Batman Arkham Asylum. Second is Joker's Song, which is about, from Joker's perspective, about how much Batman needs him in Batman Arkham City. And the last is I Am the Knight, which is about Arkham Knight.
Yeah, look that up. Google it.
Yeah, go look it up. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I've seen
I have all 3 songs on my...
Maybe 2.
Yep. But, yeah, so... Okay, we're at an hour. Anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I am the Knight. No, not really. I'm Sonic.
No, hang on. I am Vengeance.
I am the Knight.
I am Batman!
And also the Rambling Reviewers.
Yeah,
And we're signing off.
We're actually Clayface!